Today I'm telling you all about the history of my YouTube channel and about a little giveaway I have happening right now. Hi, I'm Jessica Valant, a physical therapist and Pilates teacher, and I want to bring science-based knowledge, empathy, courage, support, love, and hopefully some fun to the journeys we have with our bodies. There is hope and strength in your body, and my goal is to help you find it. Hey, it's so good to have you here today. We are going to be talking about my YouTube channel, and that feels like a little bit of a funny topic to be talking about. So I'm going to tell you where this came from. I personally love stories about either my favorite businesses or my favorite people to follow. I love the stories kind of that tell the history of where they came from or where they started. I love origin stories. There's a certain podcast I listen to called How I Built This, and it's all about the businesses and how they got started. I just think it's fascinating, and to me, it's so helpful. I like to follow people and listen to them more when I do know their history and their origins. I like to know that people started out just like I did. I like to know the hard work that was put into place. And so I'm always here and open and transparent to help share those stories as well. And this weekend, we hit a really fun and important milestone in YouTube when we reached 500,000 subscribers. So we have 500,000 subscribers over on YouTube, and it's easy for me sometimes to just move past those moments. I mean, just like you're busy, I'm busy, life continues, the kids still need me. So many times I just kind of move past and gloss over those achievements when they happen. But honestly, this one felt pretty big to me, and I think it is sentimental as much as it is kind of a business achievement, because it really kind of represents the start of my online business. So I'm going to rewind, back up, and give you all the details and the history of how Jessica Valant Pilates got to this point. And before I do that, I want to remind you, we do have a little bit of a giveaway and a contest going on right now. So in order to celebrate, I really wanted to thank all of you for being here and being a part of this. So we are doing a giveaway, and I'll give the details at the end of this episode today. So as you may know, I have been a physical therapist and a Pilates teacher for over 20 years. So in the year 2000, I graduated from PT school, and I got my first job in Denver working at an orthopedic outpatient clinic. I was seeing 20 patients a day. I was working long days. I was learning a lot. I was writing notes by hand. There was no such thing as social media back then. I don't even know if I had email. I probably did. I probably had email and an old school cell phone, but I was not on it very much. This is the world that I was just diving right into, very traditional medicine and very traditional physical therapy. And that's what I knew. And I had no desire to do anything else. I had always wanted to be a physical therapist. I was so thankful to have a job that I loved. And I didn't really see any long-term goals other than continuing to work in a clinic. At that point in time, the aspirations as a physical therapist really might have reached to something like becoming a manager or even possibly becoming an owner, which even that was outside of my realm of thought at that point. So I was just in there doing the work. My boss came in one day and said, we'd really like to bring something called Pilates into the clinics. This was new at the time. It was really spreading like wildfire. And they decided to train any of us who wanted to. I raised my hand and I said, yes, please, I will do it. So that's how Pilates got added to my repertoire. But again, I didn't see much else other than maintaining this role as a clinician and then maybe adding a role as a Pilates teacher as I moved along. And through this process, I did start to gain some other responsibilities as well. I was brought into other clinics to start their own Pilates program. I was kind of starting to be known as a Pilates expert in the area. And then when we moved to Hawaii, I did end up opening my own clinics and studios. Again, I never ever would have told you that that was something that I would do. It's never anything I wanted to do. I didn't want to be a business owner. I didn't want to have staff. I didn't want anything to do with any of that. And if there's anything I've learned along the way, honestly, it's to never say never, because I've done it a lot of times and I've always ended up doing that thing that I said never to. So I found along the way that my role as a clinician, as a business owner, just my role in the industry changed as two things changed along with it. One was my own kind of desires and goals and my own situation. So for example, when we had our daughter, everything that I thought I wanted out of a long-term career changed because I realized I wanted to be home with her. When we moved, I never thought we'd leave Hawaii, and we realized we needed to move. We needed to get closer to my in-laws to help them with certain things. So that changed my needs. So that's one thing that changed. And another is that as I grew as a clinician and as I had more experience in the industry, I was able to see how I would do things differently. I was able to see what my clients needed that maybe traditional medicine wasn't able to offer. I was able to see some gaps in the industry and in that area that I was working in and start to put together some ideas of what I might do differently. And I also realized that in order to do them differently, I needed to create them myself. So those were a couple things that led to me opening my own clinics. We got to Hawaii and I realized that the kind of atmosphere I wanted to work in, or I had been used to working in, just wasn't available in Hawaii yet. So I needed to create it if I wanted to have it. So that's what we did. And we were able to really build something that I was extremely proud of. We had 2 locations. We were named the best Pilates studio in Honolulu. We had a staff of 19. We had amazing people coming in through our doors every day. I developed such special relationships, and I bet some of you are listening right now, and I am eternally grateful for the trust that you put into me and into the business at the time. I really was able to establish such great relationships within the community. I learned how to build a business. I learned how to promote and how to market. I learned how to create relationships. I learned how to bill insurance. I learned everything under the sun, either by trial and error or just by being thrown into the fire. But one thing I really didn't have to learn was anything online, believe it or not, because this was the year 2007 when I opened. I think the most complicated things I had were a website, which I had someone develop for me. So we had a website. We had a listing on Yelp, I remember, because people were just starting to get into Yelp. And then we had an online scheduling system. But that was it. There was no social media at that time, like I said. So I had no other vision for the future other than those 2 clinics and building those, possibly opening other locations. And I'll tell you one funny thing though. There was a group out of New York that had started, I believe, an app at the time. And again, this was brand new. There was not much in the fitness world and nothing in the Pilates world at the time. But I remember in a magazine, I was still getting a Pilates magazine, and I remember seeing an ad that they had placed. And I thought that that was so interesting and it had so much potential that I cut out that ad and I taped my name over it, Jessica Valant Pilates. I taped my name over it and I put it up on my dream board. And I still have that to that day. So when I look back, I kind of laugh because I say that I never wanted anything or I never had visions of anything. But I think a part of me did. A part of me knew, again, that there were opportunities in this industry and there were possibly ways to reach more people. I didn't know what it looked like at the time, but I think that I knew that possibility was there. So in 2013, a couple things happened. The biggest and most important in my world is that our daughter was born. So our first baby was born, and like I had mentioned, it really changed how work looked to me. I thought I would definitely be that mom to get daycare almost right away, to get childcare, and to go back to work full time. That's what my mom did. That's what was exampled to me. I never thought I'd want anything else. And I'm telling you, that girl came into this world and I got home and realized I wanted to be home. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be home with her, and I needed to find a way to keep the business running and keep that brick and mortar studio running, keep the clients taken care of and my staff taken care of. I needed to find a way to do that while also being with her as much as I wanted to be able to be. It was a whole shift in how I looked at, honestly, myself and my career. So that was one thing that happened. Another thing that happened is that one of my clients set up a meeting with me, and she told me about something called a blog. And I had not heard of blogs before. This was new too, to me at least. So she told me about a blog, and she said, you have such a place in the community here. People are coming to you at this point for more than just tips about health and fitness. They want to know about acupuncture. They want to know if you believe in massage or who the best massage therapists are in the community. They want to know about possibly drinking water and the importance of that, or different areas in health and fitness. And a blog is a way that you can reach out and talk to more people, and even talk to those clients who possibly move away. So they were your client, but they move back to the mainland, they move away, but they still want to follow kind of your advice or really look to you as a leader in the industry. And so I still couldn't quite wrap my head around it, but I was willing to build the business. And again, with wanting my daughter home, I thought, gosh, that might be something I can do to support the business more from home. Interesting. So I started a blog. Again, simple website, started a blog, and I started writing. And I think those early blogs are still out there on Jessica Valant Pilates. I think those very first ones are still there. I remember creating a home workout at home next to the pool. I remember writing one about how to work out at home when you have a new baby and you only can work out during nap time. I remember introducing my staff through the blog. So I started to get into it in that way. And then I thought I would put up a YouTube video, and this you can still find. So I don't know to this day what made me do that first. I bet it was still the same client who really had a vision for me and what the business could be. She said, why don't you put up a YouTube video, again, for those people who might be clients but then move away or who are traveling? And I said, okay, I think I can figure that out. And I remember it was nighttime. Okay, so first off, rules of videos are good lighting. And this one, I had no idea what I was doing. So it was nighttime. I had no lights, just the lights from the studio. My husband was there. Our daughter was there crawling on the floor. I remember I put her down and I told my husband, okay, just take this video really quick with a phone. Try not to shake it if you can help it. And I believe it was a bar video. At least this is one of the first ones that I remember doing. It was a short bar workout. I don't think I smiled once because I was just so nervous and unsure what to do. I don't even think I edited it. I really don't know. I'd have to look back and see. I don't even think I edited it. I think I just threw it up there not knowing what else to do. And that was one of the first YouTube videos that I did. Now, that, looking back, sometimes you do things and you have a really clear path of why and what's going to happen next. That was one of those things I did not, okay? I did it because someone said it might be a good idea. Again, I did it because I think the back of my head, I knew that could lead to something down the line, but I did not know what. And another thing I did not know is that we, within the next 6 months, would be leaving our home in Hawaii and moving to the mainland. So that leads really to the next part of this journey. My husband and I thought we'd be in Hawaii forever. Like I said, I thought I would just be a business owner owning those studios forever. I didn't see anything else, but I also didn't want anything else. It's not that my vision was small. It's that that's what I wanted. To me, that was the epitome. Like that was the ultimate in our industry at that time, was owning your own studios. I was thrilled and honored and so proud to have reached that. And I just didn't really see where else to go from there other than building the studios themselves, maybe adding locations, which also meant adding rent and adding overhead. It honestly was a lot of pressure. I felt a lot of pressure to make sure my staff was taken care of. I felt a lot of pressure on scheduling, making sure everything was open when it needed to be. When air conditioning units broke down in Hawaii, that's a tough one. We had that happen for months on end. And at that point, I was on the mainland trying to run all of that. And to be honest, just for me personally, it was a lot. It was a hard time to be trying to be a really good parent to my young daughter while also trying to really take care of the studio and manage it from afar. And then the third piece was really trying to figure out where I fit into all of it at that point. Because as I mentioned, I wanted to stay home as a mom, but I also love what I do for work. I adore my career. I love it. It's who I am. It's how I teach. It's what I talk about. When I go to a dinner party with people, that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about anatomy. I'm going to talk about your body. I think it's fascinating. So I knew I needed to find a way to incorporate all of it. And it came about when a client from Hawaii reached out to me and said, hey, you gave me these exercises for my knee a while back and I don't remember them. Could you give them to me again? And I had written them down as stick figures. If you've ever taken PT in the past, you probably have gotten a sheet of stick figures. I was an expert in stick figure illustrations. But I said, I don't know how to get that to you. I can't do that from the mainland and send that thousands of miles. But I said, you know what? I think I can make a YouTube video. Because after that first one, I hadn't done very many. I'd only thrown a few up there. And again, with no real strategy behind it. But it found me at the right time and place. We actually had sold our brick and mortar studios. We had gone through that process. So I didn't have those anymore. I didn't have that amazing outlet as a person who loved my career. I didn't have that outlet for work. I honestly felt, and I'll be completely vulnerable here with you, I felt like a little bit of a failure because, again, the epitome and the peak in our industry was being a studio and a clinic owner, and I had let that go. So I didn't really know where to go next. So having a project was really perfect timing for me. So I said, I think I can put this video up on YouTube, and what would that look like? Let me actually figure it out this time around. So I dove into research, and I am not kidding. I would push our daughter in the stroller and listen to hours of podcasts about how to start a YouTube channel, how to market a YouTube channel, online marketing, online business, how to start your own website. I can't even tell you how much research and listening I did to really figure out what that might look like. And then I had to ask myself, what does it look like for me? Because again, the fitness industry didn't have a big presence online at that time, and Pilates definitely didn't. So I had to kind of start to figure out what it would look like in my life and with my needs and my desires as a clinician and as a teacher. What would it look like to have an online business? And to be honest, I didn't really know. I just knew I had to try it to figure it out. So that's what I did. And that's really how and when the Jessica Valant Pilates YouTube channel started. And it was the beginning of all of my online work. So I started putting up some videos. And again, I didn't have a lot of strategy about how or when I was doing them. I was just trying to do them consistently. And I had learned about tags and keywords, things you don't have to worry about. But I was trying to do it in a very purposeful and intentional way. And then one day I put up a video about scoliosis. I put up a workout that you could do that might be helpful if you have scoliosis. And somehow that workout took off. And to this day, it's one of my most viewed workouts. And you might even be here listening to this because you found that workout years ago. That workout changed everything for me because it started drawing people in who wanted more. And I realized, there's a need for this kind of knowledge out there. There's a need for workouts and routines for people who might have a diagnosis or an injury, who don't have access to physical therapy, who don't have access to Pilates, or who need to be home doing this work, or simply haven't been listened to by doctors and are trying to find another voice. And that was the beginning of what you now know as Jessica Valant Pilates and my unlimited community and all of the programs that I offer and all the work that I do online. That was the start of it. And I really kind of trace it back to that video. And that really is why I have such a soft spot in my heart for my YouTube channel, because it was the first place that I was able to pull back the curtain and show people online a little more about myself and about how I teach. And it was the first place that I could hear back from you as well. I read those comments on those videos and I commented back, and I used those comments to know what was missing out there for people, what they were looking for, what they couldn't find, what they needed. It really kind of became that outline through which I created the rest of my business. And I still use it in that way today. And that brings us to where we are right now, talking together on this podcast that really you could see as an extension of that YouTube channel as well. So it started with workouts on YouTube, which then led to my website. It led to a few products, including a scoliosis workout, which then led to some 4-week products, which then led to my unlimited program. And I consider those kind of a deeper dive. And so YouTube will always be there for people who are searching, who want to try things out, who want to see if we're a match, who want to see if maybe they enjoy what I teach, or for people who just need some short-term instruction for a single injury, or who are looking for some support through a hysterectomy. YouTube will always be there. And then again, I really personally wanted to be able to offer a deeper dive to people and get to know them even more intimately and get to know a great community of people and offer longer workouts and more intense workout programs. And that's where Unlimited came in. So they work really well together. And I appreciate everyone in any space that they are here. So whether that is a YouTube subscriber or a follower or an Unlimited member, whether I've seen you one-on-one on Zoom or you follow me on Instagram, I like being able to offer content in different ways so that I can meet you where you are. And the reason is I appreciate the same from other people. There are times I want to watch a YouTube video, and there are times I need to listen to a podcast, and there are times I want to read things out, and there are times I want to watch quick stories on Instagram. What I can promise you is that no matter where you find me, no matter what content we develop in the future, I will remember where I came from and where this business came from, and I will remember our tenets of being transparent and vulnerable, of really empowering you in your body, teaching you how to feel safe in your body, teaching you about movement, and wanting you to believe in yourself as much as I believe in you. And that leads me to the giveaway that we have going on right now, because that's what I promised you at the beginning. So I really wanted to do something to celebrate this week, to again celebrate that milestone. And so I am offering a 1-month free subscription to Unlimited to 10 different people. And I actually talk all about this in the YouTube video that I released this week. So I'm going to have that link below. So all the details to enter the giveaway are in the video on YouTube this week. It just seemed appropriate to tell you on YouTube all about the YouTube contest we have happening. So I'm going to put the link below. And if you haven't entered yet, I highly encourage you to enter. Watch the short video. It's going to have all the instructions on how to enter. But the one thing to know is the contest does close at midnight on Thursday, March 23rd. So midnight Mountain Time, Thursday, March 23rd is when the contest closes. I would love to have you there. And again, if not, I am happy to have you wherever you choose to meet me. I am so honored for this platform. I'm grateful for the journey that's brought me here. I can't say it enough. Sometimes we don't always see what the future holds. I guess we never really see what the future holds, do we? But sometimes it isn't even in our visualization of what could happen. But many times it's so much bigger and better even than we thought possible. And that's where I feel I am now with my career. I'm thankful for everything that has come before. I'm thankful for every single client I was able to see in my first job. I'm thankful for everyone who ever walked into the doors on my brick and mortar studio. And I'm thankful for everyone who has ever found me online. And I don't know what the future holds either. Maybe we'll be back to brick and mortar at some point, maybe in person, maybe online will grow. I bet it's something I can't even picture right now. but I'm excited for whatever it is, and I'm excited to have you there with me. And I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for joining me today on Meet Your Body. If you have a moment, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast, as it helps us tremendously. For more resources and workouts, you can visit my website, jessicavalantpilates.com, or find me on YouTube or Instagram at Jessica Valant Pilates.